Welcome to We Think, We Talk, sponsored by Select Care Pharmacy, a pharmacy that is non-retail but that services the smallest of group homes to the largest of skilled nursing facilities, with prompt attention and care and world-class customer service. Welcome back to another episode of We Think, We Talk. Have a great guest on today. First time on camera.
It is.
This is Josh Trout.
Hey guys.
Josh Trout is a CEO of healthcare locally. He is a public speaker. He owns a company that helps motivate you. Kind of a man about people.
Amen.
So
Very well said.
you know you've been on the show a lot.
I have. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh no, thank you.
You make me feel special.
Well, and especially the don't even say that, but especially within the upstate of South Carolina.
Yeah.
You're originally not from here.
I'm not.
But you have taken over.
I feel like it's here.
Well, you've embraced being
it.
here. You've let the community know I'm here and I'm here to help.
Yes.
Since being here, I mean, with the American Heart Association, I saw that come in. You're the president of the Heart Association, right?
So I'm the chairman of the
Yes.
board, from 22 to 24, and then just took over the chair for the Heart Walk in 2024.
Yeah, you're sort of everywhere.
23. I don't want to.
I noticed a post last night or the night before.
Yeah.
Our dear friend Adam Jennings.
Yes.
He had you on there.
Yeah.
Kind of when Adam says, "Hey, welcome to Greenville,"
Yeah.
you know you're in.
Yeah. He's an awesome dude.
Yeah, Adam's all about Greenville. Check him out.
Yeah.
Adam's a friend of the show.
Yeah. I keep trying to get him on our show, and
Let me make a call for you.
he's a busy guy. I might not be at your status, so can you help me out?
Honestly,
Adam, if he calls you,
do you know how I got Adam on the show?
how's that?
This is true. And Adam,
Do I have to feed him?
no. I called him up and said, "Adam, what you doing?" And he answered. So that was a step, right? Because you know how mostly, we have to go through email and voicemail.
I hear you.
I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, this weekend, because we know that I tape on Thursdays, right?
Right.
The world now knows this. If I'm calling you, you're like, Thursday, sure. You already know.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a joke." I said, "What are you doing?" And he was excited because him and his aunt, the weekend, we're going to Columbia to the Elton John show. And all I did on the phone was say, "I love Elton John.
Oh,
What are you wearing?
there you go.
When you want me to come?"
Okay.
He came and I said, "Do not tell
All
me
right.
any of this information."
Okay.
He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "No scripts."
Yeah.
So when he came, I set him down just like you and I've done 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And just started talking to him. And then what I realized about Adam was awesome, that so many people in our area and beyond
Yeah.
love Adam. He's done so many
he's a great
favors
guy.
for people.
Great guy.
But I realized, I wonder how many of those people that actually love Adam and work with Adam often have set him down at a table and asked Adam questions about himself. Where did you go to school?
Right.
What'd you do as a child?
Right.
Well, I did. And then Adam listened to it a couple of days later,
Yeah.
called me up, and he said, "I appreciate it. It was awesome."
Good.
So
So when I call him next time, I just got to start off with,
say, "Hey, you
Hey,
know
I love
what?
Elton John."
I was just listening to Elton. You need me to move the world for you?" But he ended up wearing, to make it even better, the reason I even asked, because I knew Adam would, is the stuff that glitters,
yes.
the glasses, the whole deal.
Yeah, the whole thing.
And he sent me pictures.
love it.
He had, if one person could say what was your best time in life,
Yeah.
that he's probably got that marked at the top list. He went to Columbia, and I think he owned Columbia for that night.
Nice.
I was like, because Adam doesn't know how to go small.
Yeah.
So, but I saw where Adam when he did that, I was like, that's a good thing, because you've been putting a lot of the work in.
Yeah. Thank you.
A lot. I saw pictures where you're at the Inland Port.
Yes. Yeah, that was an
was cool.
unbelievable experience. So
You're
shout out
with the Mayor Greer.
to Mayor Rick Danner Greer.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I said, well,
Yeah.
you're learning, you're seeing, and it's probably something that you can see on paper and then see in person, and your brain really switches gears.
It's amazing. And they're expanding, which is crazy. I mean,
Right.
It's
I don't think they ever could not expand.
yeah. I mean, 8,000 to 10,000 containers there at one time.
All the time.
It's just
Organized chaos.
logistics. It was amazing. And the
Well-
guys there that took us for the tour were just top notch. So
See, stuff like that I want to see. I'd like to see an Amazon warehouse, their logistics, how
Oh,
they
my
do
goodness.
things. For us to be better in our own worlds,
Yeah.
just our personal lives, I'd love to see and know tools about something that has worked. Can you
Yeah.
imagine if they're making a million little things work? We only have a few things that work in our life that we have to do in the morning.
Yeah.
What if we can put that into a logistical perfection? I don't know the word, but they do it right. If it's just
They
going to be
do.
tomorrow by 10 o'clock, it's
yeah.
usually by my house at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So this leads me to a question, and this is
Oh,
where I'm
boy.
going to kind of throw in a
All right.
new idea for you here.
Okay.
You have a normal routine in the
Yes.
morning, right? And I'm not talking about a strange morning when you got something
Right.
planned for a month. Just your normal morning.
Right.
And I want you to kind of put that in your head.
Okay.
Now, tell me about your normal morning when you were 25 years old. What did that look like? What can you remember from it?
Oh, man. Cluster.
Cluster.
There was no structure.
No structure.
Yeah. You wake up, you kind of just.
You had responsibilities.
I did. Yeah. I mean, you had work and you had things you had to do, but I can tell you that I wasn't, thinking like I do now, of things that I want to accomplish or, if I do this now, what's going to be, what's going to come from that compared to if I do it this way, back
Right.
then you're kind of just free,
Right.
free thinking and you just kind of go with the flow.
Would you agree with this statement that you took work as an important thing, but at work you already think about what you're doing when you get off?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So
yeah.
work was just a part of the picture.
It is. Right. Yeah. Where am I going to go hang out? What I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay.
So this is where I'm a lead in,
Okay.
if you will.
All right.
You saw how the show has sort of done its thing, and it's done a great job of what it was designed to do.
Absolutely.
We've had some of the top-notch people, some great information go out.
Absolutely.
But I want to change how things are done a little bit from here forward. It's still We Think We Talk. We can't change
Yeah.
us and all.
No. I love
But-
change.
But now I'm bringing it in and call it the final chapter.
Final chapter.
Because, see, this is the second act. And so that's essentially what I've titled it on paper, the second act, final chapter.
Nice.
Because every time we go to a Broadway show or we do something, you get that first act.
Right.
And they are energized.
Yeah.
The best singing happens. Not all the best,
Yeah.
but a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like a lot. You're
Right.
watching it.
Right. A lot going on.
And then the lights come up, the curtain goes down, the house lights.
Yeah.
All the people in attendance, you go to intermission. About a 15-minute intermission usually.
Yeah.
And then house lights start flickering.
Yep. Time to sit back down.
Time to sit back down.
Yeah.
Now, what are you expecting now? Because now you're for some reason, even after that intermission, you sit back down, maybe with your wife, your family. You grab your playbill. You kind of look at it. You're looking at the second act. It's the final act. Does your brain do something different as well? Mine does. Mine actually sort of zeroes in. It realizes that not all the fun is gone, but now let me watch this seriously because all the points that this is trying to teach me will be in the final act. Things aren't going to be as chaotic in the final act because it's all trying to wrap everything that it showed me in the beginning up, which was chaotic and wild. Any play I can think of, almost anything. You ever saw Rent?
Of course.
Okay, Rent. I can sing you every song from there.
Yeah.
But
See, that's something that I didn't know that we had in common. I'm actually a big musical. A lot of people don't know that. You're hearing something.
let me explain something to you.
Yeah.
You know Noah and Nate. You know my boys.
Yeah. Awesome.
Do you think it's cool to have a dad at a red light with the window down singing, come to my house? I'll be your tenant. Don't got much baggage. Just lay at your feet.
Put the windows up.
Yeah, come on. But I find something interested in the playwrights.
Yeah.
See, both of us read a lot of books. But a play is a book, but we don't read it.
Right.
We watch it.
It's being
So when you're finishing a
displayed in
book,
front of you. Right.
you go in
Yeah.
a little bit, like your study mode.
Right.
With a play,
Because you're trying to get it pictured in your face where in the play it's there.
now you don't have to picture it, but
You
your
don't.
brain still goes,
Right.
focus in.
Right.
Let's go there because
Yeah.
now you don't want to miss something because it's going to end. You don't know exactly when it's going to end.
Yeah.
But that, in turn, I'm bringing over into our lives of a reality. This is what we do as humans too, as people, and
Yeah.
how and why I feel this is important. The final act, the curtain's up on the second scene,
Yeah.
and here the last 6 months,
Yeah.
5 months, for some reason I have been obsessed with age in my brain.
Really?
Yeah,
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. That's why I'm trying to get
Obsessed with age as in with yourself or
to
others?
both, but I'll explain.
Okay.
And I'm beginning to read this as normal, but who knows if I'm really normal.
Well, none of us are.
I would say in the last 5 months, I have thought about, we'll talk about me first.
Okay.
It could have been from the 2 injuries I had back to back,
Yeah.
just the way the body feels. I've taken a good look at my children and see that they're adults.
Yeah.
I've taken a good look at the world around me, and like walking down a hallway in my house, you'll see pictures of people that have been long gone, but yet were very instrumental in your life. And for some reason, with all that combined, it's like a bowl of uncooked product I've added. I've been obsessed with thinking about the age that I am now. How did it happen so fast? Like a lot of memories I feel that I may have not enjoyed and missed. I feel like there's a portion of my life that I see people talk about and I can see with my eyeballs that I built, but I don't remember doing it in vivid detail like I thought I would. And that upsets me, but it also makes me realize too, the second act is now what's important, because I have an opportunity to have a second act.
Yeah.
I'm not beat down at this age to
Thank
the point
God,
of
right.
not wanting to do it.
Right.
But I also now realize that when the curtain rose again, people remember me from Act 1. Who knows? The second act could be 5 years later,
Yeah.
10 years later.
Yeah.
I'm going to look different. I've got to accept that for myself first.
Right.
What about the speed? What about the speed in which I do things? Now, we're not talking about me and you getting into a foot race.
Yeah.
We obviously know that I'd win.
Absolutely. I wouldn't even try running.
No, but just legitimately,
Yeah.
what if I did have to get into a foot race?
Right.
Me knowing if I had time,
Yeah.
I could not rig the race, but I could bring enough people in to run for me. Well, I wouldn't worry about the race. But left on my own, physically, I cannot do it. And is there anything I can do to get to the point where I can? Yes, there is. I can go to the gym. I can lose weight. But at 25, that's the age I asked you, what you were doing at 25.
Right.
At your best right now, will you ever be as good as you were at 25 physically?
No.
No. How do you accommodate for that to still feel like a whole
Sure.
person? Because I believe that if I'm feeling this is a real thing that people my age, and for the record, you are a little younger, a little,
Yeah.
but you're also at the age where you understand.
26 right now.
You're
That's
at
why
20
when you said
26.
25, it was just last year. I was
Well, that's
thinking
cool.
about
I'm only 28, so I thought it was further than that. But with it really
that.
jumping
I don't
in
want to
on
go
me?
back to that, by the way. I'm happy where I'm at.
Well, also I thought about it too. That's you already answered another question, because
Yeah.
the work that you've had to put in to get here,
Yeah.
does it bring it to your high, knowing that you would have to redo it? What you'd have to
Yeah.
redo?
I don't want to go back.
I don't either.
No, I love my life where I'm at right now. You know, I think I'm in a weird way. I feel like I'm just coming into my prime. You know, and I've started to learn who I am. You know,
That's good.
yeah. You know, where I think go back to the 25 mark. You know, you don't know who the hell you are.
No.
You think you do,
No.
and then you turn 26 and you go, "Well, I didn't know what I was at 25, but I know what I am now."
Right.
Then you turn 27, you go, "Well, I didn't know." I mean, and so I think to go back to your question, I that kind of feeds into that. Is it's seasons in life,
Yeah.
right? It's very easy to go down that rabbit hole, and that gets you nowhere,
Right.
right? You know, I think that it's okay that you think about those things. Who doesn't?
Right. Sure.
I just had a moment last night. I was at a graduation party, and the girls are twins that they had a video running, and there was a video of them doing, just talking, being silly, and I saw my daughter's face in them because it was about the same age. And I had this moment of like,
Right.
I felt it right here.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, okay, my daughter's 10.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's like, before I know it,
Oh.
it's going to be my daughter. And I mean, does that make me extremely sad? Yeah. I mean, I'm excited about it as well because,
Right.
she's already my little princess and I can't wait to
It will always be.
Always will be. And I'm
That's the
excited to
problem.
not always be a father and be more like a friend someday. Right. But I don't want to rush it. Right.
Oh no.
But I think that, we all go through those seasons in life and we think about things differently. I think it's just your how you handle it.
And I think that's with everything.
Yeah.
I think it shows a lot about a person.
Yeah.
And the way they handle adversity.
Yeah.
Even the way they handle the worst of the situation.
Yeah.
I have seen people that I really had no respect for.
Right.
All of a sudden go through a huge situation, professionally or whatever, and they come out of this thing like a warrior.
Yeah.
Like, and you just have to step back and go, "Wow, I
Right.
didn't know that they could hold themselves together." I think you had touched on something that it's probably taken me a while to come in terms with for myself because I don't know why this thought started just in dreams and just taking over. I mean, it's crazy how we let things happen, but I have agreed with myself. Sure, I'll never be 25, but the question is, I always ask if you could redo it again, would you? But with the information that you have. So that was a different play on it. I agreed with you. I don't want to because I'm too tired. I didn't know what made me this tired doing it, or I wouldn't have did half of what I did. Yeah. But the secret to that statement is going back, redoing it with what you already know. Okay, yeah, but that would also be horribly sad too because I would know some things that were going to happen that I just don't think mentally I could wait for.
Right.
That leads me to my age today.
Yeah.
How can I be okay with it or move forward stronger than ever before? Maybe agree that I'm never going to run the Boston Marathon anyway. But maybe work really hard to make my voice heard louder and above all the others than ever before. Before, I wanted you to see through my actions of me physically doing. Now I want to storytell and show you, not necessarily by the complete physical action, of start to finish of how I did it, and the person with the energy would be able to do it. So I feel more of a teaching role coming than physically having to do it because it was this is simple. Not talk over you, but this is how simple it was. I rode by and saw a cute house in Chester. Nothing to it. It was a one-story house, maybe a 4 or 5 room house, but I like the way it was built. Built well. Then I was like, I couldn't build that house now because of bending down and what it's taking. Because of all the physical toll my body's had in the last 2.
Yeah.
But what I realized is looking at that house is knowing that everybody that would come in to help me, my design in my head would still happen. So I can't do this alone, and I can't be omnipotent, all-knowing. There's only one person we know of that ever had that privilege.
Amen.
So really what I'm doing now is trying to focus on why, A, would I have had those thoughts, and B, to help work through, and I'm certainly not going to do this and take a mantra. Go ahead and call him and let him know because I couldn't do that. The mantra. But people like myself that get hit with this in their head every day, because I can't be the only one.
No.
Because here's the thing, and this is to be transparent with everybody because I hold nothing back. I had no reason to be sad. There was nothing, there wasn't a certain event that just sparked to lead me down this path of thinking. So I realized, just like you said, it's a season. You're probably at the age now where those thoughts are natural because they're new thoughts. It makes them tough.
Yeah.
How do you interact with a new thought? It's like, for example, if I give you an onion and a knife and say we need chopped onions, you'll chop them and not even realize an hour later you chopped onions. But there was a first time that somebody gave you that onion and a knife, and you had to do it purposefully or without chopping your fingers off.
Right.
But you still were cutting onions for a bunch of other people.
Right.
These feelings and these ideas, it's not that I don't know how to do them. They're so new. I'm careful with them. And how do you switch into another role? Because everybody's seen you as one person.
Yeah.
Now they see you as another. Because I thought about you, and you're originally from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And you don't get home often.
I do not.
But I know you do telephone.
I do.
Which they probably have told you have turned into country with your voice.
Someone just told me that the other day.
Yeah.
Which I love, though.
No, absolutely. You're definitely tied into here.
Oh, I
now,
love
you
it.
can't help it.
Like I told you, I say y'all now.
But
I'm official.
you are official. You've been official for a long time, though. Yeah. But what would happen at your buddies? We talked about some of your buddies.
Yeah.
You hadn't seen them. All of a sudden,
Right.
you knocked on their door, and y'all started having a conversation.
Yeah, they're going to look at me like.
And you'd feel the same way, too.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah.
You have those past memories,
Right.
but you hadn't caught up on future stuff.
Right.
So how do you let somebody know the person you are now? Are you the same person?
No.
Yeah, me either.
No. Not even close. I'm not even the same person I was a year ago.
Right.
And that's being in my new season here in South Carolina.
See, that's what I wanted to talk to you because I think we were just even talking about it in the car.
Yeah.
You got to know where you've been to know where you're going.
Yeah.
About how long ago or when did you allow yourself or open up yourself for new challenges and to grow just as it came? Because you really had, like I said, you've laid down on the garden and whatever has decided to grow, you decided to take care of it.
Yeah.
Whether the Heart Association or American Heart Association or whatever.
Yeah.
Anybody that comes to you, you do anything you can to help them. Where does that come from? How has that now been a part? Because I don't think that's who you were at 25.
No. I think that, I can't go into the whole story now.
No,
You know my
Yes.
upbringing and my...
Which is on another podcast that you
another-
definitely need to check out
Yes.
because it tells the whole story.
Yes, and currently writing a book.
Writing a book.
So hopefully that'll be... I never thought that, anybody would really give two craps about what my life was like, but the more people I interact with and I tell my story, they're like, you should write a book. So
Right.
I'm like, okay, I'll try to do that.
Right.
And what I've done is, and why I bring that up is, I think the difference is I used to use my past as a negative. I used to use the experiences I went through, the jobs that I worked, the failures that I had as a negative. And there was a time in my life, just even a couple of years ago, that I remember saying, 13 years in EMS and being a firefighter, did I waste 13 years? Right? But now I'm starting to have a different vision of my life. And it's the season that I'm in that I'm looking back and going, wow, at that time, I don't think that it really hit me, but it was all part of God's plan for my life. Mm-hmm. It has been the experiences and the exposures that I had during those times that has made me who I am today, right? So I spent half of my life, right? I'm 40. Hopefully I'll live past 80, but you just never know. So I say I lived half of my life, and a lot of that time I've used looking through the lenses of negativity. I have chosen, the word chosen, right? Which I try to talk to people about. It's a choice, what you do in your life. You can't let those things that have happened in your life be an excuse, because that's exactly what it is.
You can't.
You have to choose to break away from that. I have chosen to use this next part of my life looking through the lens of positivity, right? Because listen, life's hard. It's tough, right? You're going to have your failures. You're going to have a lot of things that happen that just suck.
Yeah.
Right. There's no other way of saying it, but it's all what you take from it, right? And what you learn from it. So I have used my past now and what I learned from that to now take when I moved down here, because that's really that timeline, that pivotal moment, right?
Right.
Was the move to South Carolina. Mm-hmm. I'm coming on 3 years in February, which is crazy to think of. But when you're looking at, even from my first year to my second year, I have changed dramatically. Yeah. And, I say yes,
And now?
That's one thing that I do. I say yes, because I believe I have made a pact, we'll call it, with God.
Yeah.
I have tried my first half of my life to do it my way.
Right.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
No.
And there may be a lot of listeners on the show that don't have faith and don't believe in God, and that's okay.
Right.
Right. But I do believe that this isn't my calling. This
Right.
isn't my purpose. My purpose is not my purpose.
Right.
It's his purpose. And what I've done is, since I've come down here, said, you know what? If something is brought in front of me, I'm going to take it as that is a door that you're opening. I'm going to say yes.
Right.
God's very funny.
He definitely, he created
Sense of humor.
Yeah.
Sense of humor.
Yeah.
He goes, all right, brother, you can say yes and trust in me. Good. And then I say yes. And then there's more. And then there's more. And then there's more.
Yeah.
And I just keep saying yes.
It gets a little scary.
It gets scary. And there's times where I got to think about saying no. And I say it not much, but every once in a while. But to really come back to your original question is by saying yes and having a different vision, I'm advancing in certain areas of my life that I would have never done if I wouldn't have taken that approach.
That's a great approach.
That is something that I would have never learned or had the brain capacity to understand at the age of 25. So that's saying, well, man, if I could go back to those days knowing what I know now, I would. Well, okay, I get that concept, but there's still that level of immaturity that's within you. So you may know all the good stuff, but are you mature enough to know how to handle it? If I tell you the decisions that I got to make in my life and in my professional life right now, I had to make at 25, I would be the major screw up. I mean, just simple as that, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I sit there and tell you, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go back because that was, while it wasn't terrible, that's the life that I want to leave behind because now I want to live the life I'm going towards now.
Well, you still have those scars.
Yeah, which
And,
make you.
Yeah. Kind of piggybacking off of what you said, I was thinking the other night, I really was. If I had to put a sign up, because me talking about you going back to Pennsylvania, it's been years. You hadn't seen all those people. The unfortunate part of life that I see is I've had the privilege of interacting around a lot of people.
Yeah.
And this isn't all professionally. This starts back from kids on the playground to kids through grade school, right? All the way through your first jobs, so people you worked with, all of this. Taking all that in consideration, I would, if a camera came on to me, where all these people that I had worked with or somehow associated myself with, the only thing I would put up would be a sign that says I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I realized that at 25 I was horrible at was listening to somebody else's problems. I was trying to solve big problems, and I was being paid to do it through big companies. But I didn't realize that. I thought that made me a good person. I thought, well, he's doing big things for big companies. It made me a jerk because really,
I'm smiling because I hear you.
you understand, and I'm starting to realize now. So to publicly apologize to people, and when I say that, I physically haven't done anything to them.
No.
You know me.
Yeah.
And in the state of South Carolina, you can say I'm sorry without it being admitting to any crime.
Right.
Okay. But I say this because what I failed to do, there were many people through this time that were just trying to speak with me or share information with me or maybe even get something off their chest.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wasn't a good listener. I heard them, but I didn't listen to them. And I wish if I could go back, if I had to fix one thing, I may have not been able to fix everybody's problem, but at least they would have known that I was paying attention and did care more. Yeah. As I get older now, I find that I don't put my receipts, which are my problems, I don't leave them in the bag. I just open the bag and let everybody else feel free to talk to me. And I found that with a deeper conversation, a real conversation that I didn't have at 25, honestly, I was walking around feeling like the boss. I should have felt like a normal person. I should have done that route, but I didn't.
Right.
I didn't know better at the time. But now I find that having a conversation with somebody, even if I am the boss, will also lead to.
It's a title.
It's a stupid title. I'll be honest with you.
It's a title.
It doesn't keep me from getting diarrhea or sore throat. And people think that it does.
We put our pants on the same way as everybody else.
Sometimes I do good getting the pants on. That's the truth. But you know what's funny is now I'll take the time to have the conversation.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, somewhere in the conversation, they'll bring up something, and it was a question I was going to ask anyway. And then all of a sudden, I start talking about myself more now, and I find that they're listening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're going to be better bosses. And they're not necessarily younger,
Right.
But now I judge somebody. It could be just, did they take 5 minutes? Did I impact somebody?
Right.
So second act, I got to make it right.
Right. So let me hit on that a little bit.
Yeah.
If it's okay. So one thing that I've identified in my life, through my career, is, well, let me ask you this instead.
Yes.
So let's take a look at the first act for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Do you feel as though, because I'm interested, because where I'm going to go with this, I want to see what your thoughts are. Do you feel as though your identity, the identity that you had, was Andy, or was it the work in which you were doing?
Definitely the work.
Right. Yeah.
The work.
So me too.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of stuff that you're saying now, I feel like that is really the effects of that.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember from being stressed and depressed and anxiety and all that stuff. On my first chapter of life, I identified who I was through the work that I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
That allowed me to lose who I was.
Right.
That would, when we would be failing at work, I was failing.
Yes.
And when we were succeeding, I was succeeding. That's not the truth.
Right.
I'm Josh, and then there's work.
Right.
But I think what happens, and what you're talking about, I think when we're younger, we have that drive, right? We want that success. We society. How many times have I said this? Society sucks.
Oh yeah.
How society has been our biggest problem since day one of setting up. This is how you should be, and you need to make this
Right.
amount of money so you can wear this amount of clothes and this guy. All that's crap, guys. Those of you that are younger listening to this, it means nothing. All right, it means
That's true.
nothing.
Nothing.
It means nothing.
You'll lose more believing that.
You're going to lose friends. You're going to lose family. You're going to lose sleep. You're going to lose yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I did that, right? And I was identifying in my work. And what is different today is I've stopped that.
Right.
I care just as much, but I'm not identifying who I am, my success, my failures, who I am as a human being based on the company I'm working for. Because I'm Josh.
Right.
I'm not that healthcare system.
Right.
Now, I usually bleed the colors of who I work for because
Yes.
I'm committed to those people.
Right.
But I'm able now to separate that where I
Right.
wasn't able to in the past. So I think that what happens, going back to your very first question on why are you thinking like this, I truly believe that when we're young, we identify in our work and we identify in what society says we should be doing, and we are blinded to what's really important.
Right.
And then there's a part in our lives where we wake up one day with different glasses on, and we go, "I'm 40.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
What
and
happened?
what happened in my first 40 years?" And then you start to go down that rabbit hole.
Yes.
You start about the things that you weren't there for. You were, think about the things that you could have done better, experiences that you missed out on. And you're digging and you're digging
Oh, yeah.
and you're digging and you're digging. And now, like yourself, because I have my own issues too.
Right.
You've gone through some medical complications.
Right.
That's now added on top of it. And you're like, I'm dying.
Yeah.
And I missed out on life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where that's coming from personally. But I think that what it's about is you have to identify now that you are who you are.
Yes.
You are changing.
Yes.
You are growing. You're getting older, whether we like it or not. What are you going to do about it?
Right. I'm going to rock it out.
That's all you can do.
Well, I had my moment
Yeah.
where I felt sad
Yeah.
for myself genuinely.
Yeah.
And, if you had to look at me in the mirror, you'd feel sad too.
No, stop.
No, but I did. But I think what happened was I had spent a lifetime of go, 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 go. And then had a little bit of time to self-reflect. Dangerous thing when you actually have time to think
I'm a
about
victim.
yourself.
I'm a victim of that.
Yes.
I know.
Because for so many years, I was able to throw thought into work. And honestly, I feel bad about that because wife and children, I threw in a category of especially important work.
Yeah.
I did not throw in the category of family, which means you immerse yourself into it just as much as you're given.
Yeah.
They need to know the real you too.
Yeah.
And I didn't do that.
I think most of us don't.
I did, and don't get me wrong, I wasn't one of these guys that neglected.
Right. Yeah.
But unfortunately, I'm man enough to know that I put them in the category, like I did everything else.
But again, it goes back to, not to cut you off, it goes back to that society thing.
Yeah.
Our society makes it very difficult to do both.
Listen, the young people that are listening need to know this. I did a lot of work for a lot of years. Won't be specific, but you know the story. So I had a specific address in the right part of town, in the right gated community, so my kids would be able to pull up. They spent enough time in that community, in that house, with my wife and everybody. I lived in that house for so many years and didn't even know how many bedrooms I had in it. I just worked and paid for it.
Yeah.
That was my way of showing love
And what
to
a
them.
shame, right?
Yeah. See, now I realize.
And we all do that, though.
But it's so funny how
especially
that
men.
was
This is, I'm
important.
not trying to make it a
No.
women work just as hard. That's not what I'm
Absolutely.
saying. But I think that society, right, men.
I hang around with mostly guys.
Yeah.
Out of respect to my wife.
That's
I don't
how we
want her to
identify
think-
ourselves as a man, as a husband.
And the story's so similar with all of us.
All of us, everybody.
Because literally, it was one of my kids. They were little. I made a comment to somebody, I think, coming over to do some work.
Yeah.
How many bedrooms? And I said what I thought, and they started laughing. There's one more upstairs. That's just when I realized you created the life and you're not involved in it.
You're not enjoying it.
It's how sad is that? And so I've been able to flip that. Ever since I had those thoughts, obviously it's made me sad, but I also look at the relationship that I've been able to know is real,
Yeah.
know it's there. And some of the friends that I had, I'll call them friends, during that time of busy, what I thought was success, now I have no interest in them. And they have no interest in me because it was probably one of those seasonal friendships,
Yeah.
maybe.
Acquaintances.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
And there's no bad feeling, but honestly, I look back at the relationships I had with these people that I don't talk to now, and what I would talk to them about was always something to do with work or something stressfully based, something that was a dynamite ball handed to somebody. We never talked about how's your family, or how was that vacation, or how. So I guess they really just were going through the same thing in life I was at the time, trying to also hold their position and do things. Now, I really do care.
Yeah.
That'd be the first thing I'd start with in a business meeting. How's everything going? Or, I think in some situations we've known our staff or people that work with us or friends. Heck, we didn't even have to know that they had, we didn't have to know their children's names.
Right.
But it might be good to know that they have children.
Right.
So I'm trying now in the second act to, instead of blow past people,
Right.
I want to hear your story a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of like, remember On the Road, that little TV program? I feel like that's what's important now. And I feel like I will gain everything it is that I need because I don't know what that answer is yet.
Right.
But I'm going to need taking time, whether it's 2 minutes, 5 minutes,
Right.
just, hear more than I hear of myself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of hard to do with a podcast.
It's very hard to do.
But I also wanted to be able to be real and touch people or hit people
Yeah.
with where they're at,
Yeah.
what they're feeling.
Yeah.
I wanted to get to the success thing because I know that many people. But this is one thing I wanted to get out there because a lot of people are graduating college right now.
Congratulations.
Definitely congratulations to you, especially all the South Carolina graduates.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll give the Clemsons a thumbs up too.
Yeah.
But here's what I think they need to know.
I mean, you got to do the Gamecocks.
I gotta do the
too.
Gamecocks.
There's those people out there.
There's even people that graduated Furman. You believe that?
Yeah. Listen, I'm a big Furman fan.
I know because they're going to be teaching our kids.
Furman,
These are smart folks. Now
listen,
people don't even know.
I have a lot of relations with Furman.
Look, Furman is two things only.
Yeah.
You're an academic genius,
Yeah.
or you're going to blast me on the golf course.
Yeah.
That's about two only things that are happening there, and both will get them through life.
Yeah.
So I'm not
In
worried
fact-
about anybody that
in fact,
graduated
on our
Furman.
podcast coming up, we have the head basketball coach for the girls team coming from Furman.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Furman,
Yeah.
that's a whole smart thing.
Yeah.
But what the graduates of all these colleges need to know, and this can be Princeton, MIT, it doesn't matter,
Right.
is they want to know what a rich person is like. And
Miserable.
right. So I've taken that word, and
Yeah.
it used to be a word that we used to go, rich. They're rich. You know, somebody would whisper it like it was. It's so good this person's rich, but yet at the same time it could be offensive. Now I really want to tell them the truth. I would say between you and I, we know a fair share of rich people. Can you think of anyone, because we're not saying names, that is jumping out of their skin happy?
No.
Out of any one of our friends that's a collaborative group, can you think of anyone that's just spoke to you within the last month and throughout the whole conversation did not bring up a negative subject? And let me ask this:
money can bring happiness in certain capacities.
Listen.
True
People without
happiness-
money is the ones that say, money don't bring happiness. Let's just get that off the table. You got to have money for things.
Right.
But I'm going to prove a point here.
Right.
This isn't to cancel me or
Right.
you or throw us under the ground.
Right.
And this is no names. But this is in the last year. This way throws it everywhere. Would you say a fair statement would be the most real complaints that you've heard whining came from poor people to rich people?
What do you think?
Rich people. So, yeah, at 25, I wanted to be rich.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, I like my life,
Be comfortable.
but this group of friends that you and I have collectively, and so do a lot of other people combined, the world's a small place. It really is. The more money people have, now, I'm not saying don't be successful.
No.
Because if you can go work every day, that's a true statement. If you go work every day and it becomes doesn't feel like a job, you love it, okay, then do what you do. But these really rich people that have worked and worked, and some of them got caught in my trap and still caught in my trap, can't get out of it. They whine more than any just whine, and it can be about anything. And they'll also talk about money. Taxes they have to pay, not getting the parking spot they want, not getting into the restaurant first. It becomes where the world owes them something.
Right.
And now that drives me insane too.
I know.
Because I'm like, do you not see your 7,000 foot square house on a private
beach?
beach?
Do you remember when I talked about identity earlier? It's okay to go get a good job, go to school, get a good job, become rich. I mean, who doesn't want to be rich, right? But are you identifying with that, or are you still you? Because I do know several people that live down here that I know that are extremely wealthy.
Yes.
That you would never ever know they had money because they're rich here.
That's the best.
They got money.
That's
but they're
the
rich
best.
Here.
There are these few people that I'm learning, and the Blue Plate Special I actually watch every day. I don't know with Andy Andrews. I don't know if you ever see that.
I haven't. No.
LinkedIn, check that out.
Okay.
He kind of gets me there sometimes. If you were hungry, eating surf and turf, as he calls it, but that's just a can of oysters and Vidalia onions on the beach, no money, but you continue to do what you love to do, and you happen to become rich, but you still are the same person and did not change yourself, you're going to be the happiest person, and I want to talk to you.
Yes.
But when you change your identity, just as you're talking about, to money. Now, come on, you grew up eating collard greens cooked with bacon.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, you wouldn't touch it.
Yeah.
Then you're not the same person.
Yeah.
And people do that every day.
Yeah.
We know these people.
Yeah.
But
and it's been called out. There's a book, and in that book, something says the root of all evil is what?
money.
Yeah. I mean, it's
not getting to athletes, but athletes are our world. They make a ton of money. You know who I love to watch? The athletes that their mom and daddies are their manager.
Yeah.
They tend to be successful.
Yeah.
Except for this one little situation with a gun. But that's you can't be a dad and want to be a fan too.
Right.
There's a difference. But no, the point is, so the second act, I think is important to talk about. There's not an answer. I didn't want to come up with solutions.
Sure.
But I think the biggest point that I wanted to know is, somebody like yourself that, myself personally and the show respects, to show that I'm not the only one having these feelings.
Yeah.
That they're a natural thing. They pop in our heads.
Yeah.
But kind of like what you said, what do we do? How do we redirect? It's kind of like you're constantly doing this, but you're doing it now where you're involving your family, you're involving your friends, and you're writing a book.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. I don't want to not talk about that.
Yeah.
How fun is that? Is that more difficult than you thought it would be?
It is extremely, extremely.
I mean, as if being a head of a non-charitable organization, a head of your own company, a head of a hospital, a father, a husband. And let's say those aren't difficult, but let's talk about writing the book.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
So there's actually two I've been working on.
Oh.
One is more leadership driven,
Yeah.
On how I lead and want to share that. That's easy for me to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's more of a time issue,
Yeah.
right? Like you're talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
The personal, right? The personal story is very difficult.
Yeah.
Because it reopens some past wounds. There's things that you forgot about that kind of start coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So what I have just recently done is I've reached out to a freelancer because it's very hard for me to take what's in here and put on paper when it's so personal.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm trying to look for some help on that, right, to get it finished. But it's not so much the time factor; it's the mental part of it.
And it's funny when you start pulling things that you did not even know were there.
Man, yeah. And then I think going back again to the second chapter in life is now I also have a different perspective going back into that stuff. So now there's some stuff that I want to talk about in my story. I have a little bit of guilt over. Like, why did I feel that way?
Right.
Because today I'm thinking, you idiot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
But at that point, that was a major part of my life. So it's very hard. It's very, very hard.
Got a good friend of mine that I had a privilege of actually growing up with, and now he owns one of the largest logistic companies in the United States. He just finished a book.
Okay.
And it's all about organization.
Yeah.
And he'll be on the show coming
awesome.
soon.
Great.
It may be on yours. Very interesting. But why I'm excited to talk to him is kind of the similar thing. The way he did his life and lived his life, he had to learn about, there's really great ways to do it and streamline them and design them. Precision is what he's about.
Yeah.
And he said that's kind of what, this is from his book, kind of what happens to us in our life.
Yeah.
We get more precision based. We learn, but I think the question that I would ask him, I definitely would ask you this: do you think writing about yourself, or even having to draw up memories from the well, do you find that if you look back, you were way, way, way harder on your own self than you should have been?
Oh my goodness!
Like,
yes.
How many years could you have had some peaceful nights?
Hands down.
If you would have known now. Isn't that crazy?
I mean, so many things missed.
Because I can go back. I did this. I mean, you talked about this on a show. And we went through talking about what it'd be like to blaming parents, blaming things. But there also comes a point where you can't blame them. You have to put all on yourself.
Right.
And I thought about it after that show when you said that. Because believe it or not, when we talk on shows, I do continue in my brain to process little details.
Yeah.
And I thought about that, and I said, I have destroyed my own self. Like, there's nothing that parental figures in my life, parents or aunts or guardians or bosses, even when I was young, they could not have done more to me as far as punishment-wise than I did to myself.
Yeah.
Like, I was my worst critic, still am.
Yeah.
But if I would have gave myself a little bit of a break, Andy, go to bed tonight and not be shaken and worried about it. Somebody had wrote this, and I can't help but now live this every day. You worrying about tomorrow is taking every piece away from your day today. So, like, you're already giving up what you own is freely yours, your piece, for something that hadn't even happened yet. Why are you doing that?
Oh, true.
And I did that. And so that's why I don't want to be 25 again.
Yeah.
Because for everything, now I realize I blame myself for, or I couldn't do it. And I finally, at this age, realized, you know what? I can't fix everything. But at the same time, I can't ignore everything.
Right.
It's a hard balance.
But
hiring younger people to do my yard or do it, I'm starting to come to that now.
Yeah, that's okay. And you're giving them opportunity.
Yeah, I am. I've also am the person that feels like sometimes I can do it better, and I got to get past that.
Yeah.
and I think that's a guy thing.
Yeah, it's a guy thing.
But to be honest with you,
It's a pride. It's a pride thing.
Well, they can do it better.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I just have to be thankful somebody's doing it, and I got somewhere for them to do it.
Absolutely.
But as always, Josh, I appreciate you being on.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure.
This was a heavy topic. That's why I didn't text you.
Yeah, I know.
Because normally we're laughing.
We are. When I came in and everything was kind of, I said, oh boy.
Well, no, because I didn't want you to be depressed like coming. I just wanted our listeners
to be depressed
know,
about it. It's a natural thing that everybody goes through.
The second act
Yeah.
is going to be the platform of how this goes on, and it's going to be specific
Yeah.
in regards to 40
Yeah.
plus.
I think that's great.
How do we just turn on our boosters? We got a lot to give.
Oh, yeah.
We just are starting to feel slower.
Yeah.
But I think if we design it right,
Yes.
put the knowledge in a pool, we can just enjoy the rest of. We got another 50, 60 years to play with this.
Absolutely.
Guys, once again, I appreciate you being here for We Think We Talk. As always, we try to bring you episodes to give you good information and know that you're not the only one. Please stay tuned for next week. We'll have a great show for you. And until then, God bless.